بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. I'm Dr. Issam Ghannam. I'm Solihull Imam and head of Solihull Islamic Education Academy. I'm a doctor and psychiatrist, and I've been studying Islam under the Grand Mufti of Syria for 13 years in the 60s and 70s, and followed a lot of courses on Islam and astronomy. The title today is Hilal sighting versus calculation. Is there any place for calculation in Islam? As we know, Hanafi, Malki and Hanbali, they insist that whoever sights the moon, if it's sighted by two just witnesses, and in Hanbali case one witness could be enough, the next day all the Muslim nations should start fasting. The only madhab who allows you to use your local sighting is madhab al-Shafi'i. So when you come to the Quran, is there anything mentioned in the Quran about calculation? Allah Azza wa Jalla said in Surah Al-Rahman, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم الشمس والقمر بحسبان, which means the sun and the moon follow courses exactly computed. So if you have enough knowledge and you observe the movement of the moon, you will find that the moon follow a precise movement, that correction is only needed every 2,500 years, while the movement of the earth around the sun, it needs to be corrected every 4 years, and they have the leap year. You add 20 another day in February. And also Allah Azza wa Jalla expects us to use them to calculate our month. Allah Azza wa Jalla said, فَالِقُ الْإِصْبَاحِ وَجَعَلَ اللَّيْلَ سَكَنًا وَالشَّمْسَ وَالْقَمَرَ حُسْبَانًا ذَلِكَ تَقْدِيرُ الْعَزِيزِ الْعَلِيمِ. So we use the sun and the moon's movement to calculate how long the month is and when is going to be the next month. So it is important that we follow the science of calculation to know the movement of the moon and when it is due to be born. Now, when you go to the moon phases for Birmingham here, where we are now in the United Kingdom in 2021, you will find that every month the moon is born in certain time and certain day. So our moon now for this Ramadan 2021 or 1442, the moon was born at 03:30 local time, which is 02:30 Greenwich Mean Time. The month itself is 29.5 day average, but every month have different length. So here you could see in March the month is 29 days and 16 hours. So it is in April 29 days, 16 hours and 29 minutes, while it's only 29 days, 10 hours and 9 minutes in October. So you will know when the moon is born, and you will know when the next moon is born. Now, as if you look into the phases of the moon here in the end of the month of Sha'ban, the moon is crossing the sun, and on the 12th of April the moon was born. But the seeing of the moon, the sighting of the moon, is going to take place more accurately towards the North America and South America, while it might be difficult to see the moon in the Middle East. Now, what happened here that if the Muslim brothers in North America or South America saw the moon, they should go on witness before a committee, and the whole Muslim nation should fast Ramadan on Tuesday, the 13th of April. Now, who could allow calculation? only Shafi'i who allows you to follow your own local sighting. So if the moon is sighted in America, according to Hanafi, Malki, and Hanbali, all the Muslims should fast on Tuesday. And Shafi'i allows following local sighting. So if you are following Madhab Shafi'i and you know the Madhab, then you could say, I didn't see the Hilal in my area, so I'm not fasting until I see it. Surprisingly enough, Ibn Sarij, who is one of the students of Imam Shafi'i, he accepted calculation if it's done by expert. And Ibn Sarij, if you look into Islam web, he was born in the year 240, and he followed Sufyan ibn Uyayna and Waqi' and learned from them. And also he heard from Al-Hasan ibn Muhammad Za'farani, the student of Shafi'i, and from Ali ibn Ishkab and Ahmad ibn Mansur al-Ramadi and Abbas ibn Muhammad al-Duri and many other scholars. So he's quite well educated Shafi'i Imam who accepted calculation if it's done by an expert. So how it is that it is the Saudis who come out and say they spotted the moon, or mostly Gulf states, while it could be impossible to spot? And the only answer to that is this hadith, which is in Mishkat al-Masabih. When there were a dispute, they saw the crescent, and some said it is 2 days old, and some said it is 3 days old. And they met Abdullah ibn Abbas, and they told him the story that some said the crescent is 2 days, and some said the crescent 3 days. And he said that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam قال إن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم مده للرؤيا فهو لليلة رأيتموه وفي رواية عنه قال هل لنا رمضان ونحن بذات عرق فأرسلنا رجلا إلى ابن عباس يسأله فقال ابن عباس قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إن الله تعالى قد أمده لرؤيته فإن أعمي عليكم فأكملوا العدة رواه مسلم. So this hadith, which is narrated by Muslims, they were disputing whether the crescent was 2 or 3 days, so they're doubting whether they fasted correctly or not. So they asked Ibn Abbas, and Ibn Abbas said that the Prophet ﷺ said to them that Allah, the Most High, has deferred it till it is seen. But if it is the weather is cloudy, observe the fast after the complete number of days, which is 30 days. So whether it's Sha'ban complete 30 days or Ramadan 30 days. So it could be that hadith applies to those who see the crescent in the Middle East, whether Meddahu prolonged it in time, so it stayed there, or prolonged it in size, so people actually were able to see the crescent. But calculation showed that it is born on the 12th of April. So as a rule, the Washington DC ISNA organization, Islamic Association of North America, they managed to have rules that if the moon is born before the midday Greenwich Mean Time, next day is Ramadan or Eid. If the moon is born after 12 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time, midday, then the day after tomorrow is Ramadan or Eid. So the moon in April, 12th of April, which was last Monday, was born at 03:30 our local time, which is 02:30 Greenwich Mean Time, and Tuesday is Ramadan, because it's definitely going to be seen on the planet before the sun goes beyond the Pacific Ocean. So it will be seen from America and south and north. The next moon will be born on the 11th of May, but it will be born at 1959, which is 8 o'clock our local time, 7 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time, which is in the afternoon. So it's not going to be next day, Shawwal. It's going to be the day after next. So Eid is going to be on the 13th of May. So Shawwal and Ramadan this year is going to be 30 days. So when you go to this calculation, which is more precise and more or less error-free, you will be able to decide when is going to be Ramadan for the next 2,000 or 3,000 years, whatever. So in this 33 cycle, they predicted Ramadan to be 13th of April. 2022 will be the 1st of April. 2023 will be 22nd of March, and so on and so forth. So it will be the 1st of December in 3032. And it's going to go back again in the summer, and back again in the spring, and back again in the winter, and back again in the summer, spring and summer. So the movement of the moon is so precise that you can predict when it's going to be born, when there will be partial eclipse, when it's going to be full eclipse. Spotting the Hilal is a method, it's not a worship. It's the Muslims used to measure the time of for Zuhr and Asr by putting a stick outside, and if the stick is I'll show you here. They used to put a stick outside, and if the sun there on the top, they wait till the sun moves towards the west and give a shadow here, small shadow. They say it's Zuhr time. When the sun moves in the afternoon and the shadow will become equal size to the object, then it is Asr time. When the sun sets behind the horizon, then it's Maghrib time. When it is dark, then it is Isha time. When the sun is below the horizon, here is Fajr time. So it is the Muslims accepted the method of using the watches and the clocks to decide when Zuhr and Asr and Maghrib and Isha is, while the Sahaba and Tabi'een and Tabi'een were using the stick. It's a method. So sighting the moon is a method, calculation is a method, and who allows it? It's the top scholars we know, which is in this case is one of the students of Imam Shafi'i, Ibn Suraj, and I showed you where he was taught. So if you follow Imam Shafi'i, you are allowed to follow the calculation, or you local sighting. Calculation allow you to be precise, allow you to put your calendar for the next 50, 60 years, 100 years, and you will have easier planning, easier vacations, take holiday, take time off, arrange to book halls and arrange for travel or whatever. And people who want to make it difficult for themselves, they can wait till the night before Ramadan, go on the top of a hill and see whether the moon is born or not. It's very difficult with non-expert to spot the Hilal, but expert in the Middle East has been spotting the Hilal for the last thousands of years, definitely the time of the Prophet ﷺ till now, 1442 years. So they are likely to be more accurate when they spot the Hilal. You shouldn't be against them because we don't like them. ولا يجرمنكم شنآن قوم ألا تعدلوا اعدلوا هو أقرب للتقوى. Don't let, Allah Azza wa Jalla said in the Quran, don't let the hate of people move you away from justice. Be just because it's closer to piety. So I hope this short talk will give you an idea about where calculation is when it comes to deciding the beginning of Ramadan and beginning of Eid. We've been following this method for the last 15 years from 2006, and always been correct. Always the moon is spotted on the planet, and all the Muslims should fast. They can do that, and they can unite the Muslim nation. You can't rely on sighting the moon and you divide the nations into thousands of them. And it's amazing. We are in one city here in Solihull, and each one following his own interpretation to the Sharia. And they're making sighting the Hilal as part of Aqidah. If you don't sight the Hilal, you're kafir. Obviously, that's not healthy. Obviously, not the Imams will say you're kafir. The lay people, those who have no knowledge about Islam, they will jump into conclusion and label others. So may Allah guide us to the right path, and may Allah show us the best way to conduct our affair. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.